our chalice lighting this morning. For the gift of this day and for our community of spiritual nurture and compassion, we give thanks. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul.
Well, I was about to get wild there for a minute if I'm going to have a mic to walk around on. Good morning. What a beautiful morning it is to be together. Welcome to River Road Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Dave Kivita, and I'm a member of your Board of Trustees. Each month at River Road, we have a new theme, and a different board member gives a reading related to that theme at the start of the first service of the month. This month's theme is renewal. And interestingly, this will actually be my last month as a member of your board, as I'm completing my third and final year of service, and a new board member will be voted on to take my position. Just as a warning to whomever that board member is, you must commit every Sunday, if you're taking my seat, to wearing loud print shirts coordinated with track pants and bright shoes. Contrary to popular belief, I don't actually dress this way ordinarily. It's a requirement of the board. It's written into the bylaws. You can look it up, and I know some of you will. Now, as this is my final chance to speak to you as a board member, I want to take a moment to talk about being on the board, and I promise I will land the plane on talking about renewal and finish with a very quick reading. When I was about a year old, I actually did my child dedication. It was done by Reverend David Eaton at All Souls Unitarian on 16th Street. My dad was a board member there, sang in the choir for many years. My mom was a delegate to the UU General Assembly. In fact, she took me with her when it was held at Bowdoin College in Maine. My aunt was David Eaton's secretary. My cousins came to All Souls every Sunday. One of them was married there. When my aunt and uncle divorced, my uncle and his second wife both became UU ministers. So I was very much raised within the realm of Unitarian Universalism. Of course, as I got older, as so many of us did, I stopped going to church regularly. But in times of crisis, I found my way back again and again. One of those was, like, for example, when I decided at about age 18 or so that I would, all big cities are pretty much the same, so I would move to Jacksonville, Florida, because in addition to being a city, it was pretty close to the beach. Only I got to Jacksonville and discovered that no, in fact, it's absolutely nothing like Washington, D.C. and isn't even really that close to the beach either. So my mom flew down, and that Sunday we went to Unitarian Universalist Church of Jacksonville. When I lived in New York City, the Sunday after September 11th, I went to Fourth Universalist Society on Central Park West. When Alicia and I lived in Oregon, the Sunday after the 2004 election, we went to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Corvallis. And after we adopted Luther, our oldest child, and we're spending our first Christmas away from many other members of our family, the three of us spent Christmas Eve at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Luis Obispo. Now, there's one string that ties all of those things together, and you can probably guess what it is. And if your guess is, Dave, you went that one time, and you never went back to any of those places again, you're absolutely right, I did not. So flash forward, and all of those were very powerful experiences, I will say, but I never went back. So flash forward to Washington, D.C., back here, got 3 kids, and it's the Sunday after the 2016 election, and what do you think we did? We went looking for a Unitarian church, right? After that hot mess election, as they say in some religions, it was time to get right with God. So we packed the kids in the car, and we drove out here to River Road Unitarian. And there are 2 reasons why we chose River Road. Bet you can probably guess those 2. First one is it had an RE program that the kids could go into. And the second was there was easy parking. Those are the 2 reasons we ended up here, honestly. I grew up going to All Souls. I went to Cedar Lane for a little bit in my teen years. I had no idea River Road was even here until we found it on the internet. So this time we kept going. We kept coming every Sunday. The RE program was great. The parking was, in fact, excellent. And the minister, she's all right. As my dad would say in his highest Midwest compliment, she's not bad. Not bad. And here's the thing. We would come here every single Sunday. We'd send the kids to RE. We'd sit through a sermon. We'd eat some cookies afterward. We'd go home. We'd come back again the next Sunday. And I will tell you guys, I felt like a bit of an imposter. This was a gorgeous building on a huge plot of land next to a golf course, for crying out loud, in a fancy neighborhood. I did not feel like I belonged here at all. And it didn't feel like this would be a home for me. Even after doing the child dedication with the painstakingly thorn-removed roses, signing the membership book, starting to be well-fed after Reverend Karn's sermon, it still didn't really feel like home. And then one day, my friend Lacey Morris asked if I would consider being on the board. And I thought to myself, man, these people really are crazy. And I said yes. And board membership was not just a bunch of chocolates and flowers and wonderful times. In fact, at our very first board meeting, we did not agree on the wording of the covenant that we were going to have as a board. And it was a pretty strong argument back and forth. And the next month we came back, we still hadn't agreed. And I think Steve Hartman, who's out there, helped come up with some language that we could agree on, and we did agree. And I started serving on the board, and I got to see all of this amazing work that all these people did when they would come and present to the board. Finance, the solar committee that worked so hard on the solar panels, the land acknowledgement task force, all of these people who were coming and talking to the board about the amazing work that they were doing, the commitment. I got to see their passion, their dedication, and their love. And every meeting I got to work with the brilliant people serving on our board, Loretta Garcia, who was leading our board at first, John Kerner, who led our board next, Lisa, who led our board this past year. And at some point, I can still very vividly remember driving here to pick up food to deliver to Southeast, and I turned left off Whittier and started coming up the driveway. And this was about midway through my second year on the board, I think. And just as we start to come up the hill, I could see the building and the trees and everything. And I'll say, it felt like home. I would say that nothing changed me more about coming to River Road than the opportunity to serve on the board. And it renewed in me a sense of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. And I mention all of this as a long way of saying, I think we've got a real challenge for the next couple years with both of our ministers leaving. And even once we get a settled minister, which hopefully only takes 2 years, but we're not guaranteed, we're still only going to have one minister. We're not going to have an associate minister. And that means that all of us, as congregants, as members, as friends, are going to have to do more, right? And so I hope that we think about these next few years really as an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to renew our commitment to our own spiritual growth, absolutely, but it's also an opportunity to renew our commitment to each other, to renew our commitment to the congregation, and to renew our commitment to the work that River Road does in the wider world. So my reading is the favorite one I ever heard Reverend Nancy give. In fact, it's on our wall at home. It's by L.R. Nost. And of course, you're free to take this reading however you wish, but I do encourage you to think about it in the context of our congregation as a whole, and in that call to do the work that we're called to do. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of this world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The brokenness of this world waits in darkness for the light that is you.
We make home for one another. We create it in the complexity, in the laughter. When that light that is in each of us shines in its own quirky, unique, beautiful, bizarre way, and every year around this time, we gather for this uniquely Unitarian Universalist ritual we call the Flower Communion. Bringing blossoms, rain-soaked or sun-streaked from our homes, our gardens, our grocery stores. Each person takes a blossom in this service, different from the one you entered this room with, and in so doing, we celebrate the diversity of one another's gifts, the variety of one another's theological and personal realities. Last year, in this space, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of this ritual. And in a moment, you'll hear more about the very first Flower Communion, when blossoms were gathered in a time of great upheaval and pain in the world, and the people needed so desperately a reminder of the persistence of beauty in the midst of it all. Today, in another time of upheaval and change, of uncertainty and worry and power and hope, we know that the past holds lessons and power for the present. And so before we learn more about this ritual all our own, before we bless these messengers of love and beauty, I offer a prayer adapted from the work of my colleagues, Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom and author Cole Arthur Riley. Spirit of life and source of love, be with us this morning in the terrible knowledge and the stunning beauty of life and the reality of death. Be with us in these times when hope and tragedy, glory and loss are always unfolding simultaneously with the bursting of a new season. We send our hearts of joy to all those who celebrate today, those who hold on to or reach for hope in a democracy that still sometimes works. We send our hearts of sorrow out to all those who are grieving and appalled today, grieving private losses and grieving public horrors, bombs and hunger and the continued suffering of children. And with our breath, we return again to the home of our souls, that place where sorrow and possibility meet. We inhale, we exhale. Let us inhale. My soul is disturbed by all I cannot heal. Exhale. My soul is disturbed because it is still whole. Inhale. I do what I can. Exhale with what power I have. Inhale. I do what I can. Exhale with what power I have. May it be so. In beauty and in brokenness, may it be ever, ever so. Amen.
Come with me as we travel to Prague, Czechoslovakia, in Europe, the year 1923. There was a Unitarian church. Now, the building did not look at all like our church. In fact, it did not look like a church at all. It did not have a tall steeple reaching toward the sky like some churches do. It did not have massive doors carved of wood or windows of stained glass. It did not have a chalice, a piano, or flowers. The church had walls, a ceiling, a floor, a door, a few windows, and some hard wooden chairs. But thankfully, the church had people who came every Sunday, and they were the most important part of the church, because without people, any church is just a building, no matter how tall its steeple. The people of Prague had been through hard times. They had just recently been through 4 years of war. Many people in Prague had been divided about the war. Many had lost loved ones or had been hungry or scared, and even though the war had ended, many bad feelings still remained. The church also had a minister. His name was Norbert Chapek. Reverend Chapek had been the minister of this church for 2 years. Every Sunday he spoke to the people and they listened, sitting quietly on those hard wooden chairs. When he finished speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves, and then they went home. And that was all. No music, no candles, no food. Now, Reverend Chapek, he was a thinker, and he wondered sometimes if there might be something, perhaps just a little something more spiritual. He wrote some songs, and the people sang them, and it helped, but something was still missing. The church went on as before. One spring morning, near the end of May, as Reverend Chapek was out for a walk, he noticed the birds singing and the flowers blooming, and felt the sunshine on his face. How beautiful the world is! And then an idea came to him. The next Sunday, he asked all the people of the church to bring a flower or a budding branch to church the next week. Each person was to bring one. What kind? They asked. What color? What size? You choose, he said. Each of you, choose what you like. And so, the next Sunday, which felt like the first day of summer, the people came with flowers of all different colors and sizes and kinds. There were yellow and white daisies and red roses, blue asters, dark-eyed pansies, grape hyacinth, pink and purple, orange and gold, all the colors of the rainbow and more. Children helped arrange them and bring them forward to the front of the church. Flowers filled all the vases, and beauty filled their hearts. The church wasn't so plain anymore. They had created beauty together. Reverend Chapek spoke to the people, and they listened, sitting quiet and still in those hard wooden chairs. Those flowers are like us, he said. Different colors, different shapes, and different sizes, each needing different kinds of care, but each beautiful, important, and special in its own way. He said a blessing of the flowers, which called for everyone in the room to see one another as family, despite differences, and to let the spirit of love unite them and help them live more joyfully. He invited each person to take a flower home with them when they left, a different flower than what they had brought. And when the service ended that day, the people turned and talked a little bit more among themselves. And maybe there was some laughter. And then they each chose a flower from the vases before they left and took it home as a gift from their church family. And each year, at the start of summer, they did this again.
Grateful for the purpose and the renewal we find together. Grateful for these blossoms composed of the precious places in our community. Our hymn together is one of gratitude. Oh, we give thanks. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. The lyrics should pop up right there. A bouquet is composed of these individual blossoms, and a congregation is composed of the individual care, concern, friendship, and leadership of its members. The very essence of a congregation is not, in fact, its clergy, nor its programs, nor its brilliant and beautiful music, as difficult as that might be for us to hear. The very heart of a congregation is now, has always been, and will always be its people. You, who make a home for one another. And so in this service, in addition to our flower communion, we have the great honor this year of sharing our most significant leadership awards. These are awards often given during our annual meeting. We've chosen this year to center those awards right here in our Sunday service so that the substance of community life is right here before you, and you can celebrate what it means to be a leader and to be a community here for one another. Ministry, said Gordon McKeeman, is all that we do together. Ministry is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity, beckons forth hidden possibilities, and invites us into deeper, more constant relationships. Ministry is what carries us forward into hope and liberation. It is what we do together as we celebrate triumphs of the human spirit. It is what we do together in times of terror and of torment, enabling us, even in the presence of death, to say yes all over again to life. We who minister speak and live the best we know with full knowledge that it is never quite enough, and yet we return to find one another. And yet we are reassured by one another. We are reassured by lostness found, by fragments reunited, by wounds healed and joy shared. Ministry is what we all do together. This morning, it is my honor to introduce our first series of awards. These are Leadership Fellow Awards from Teresa Sousa and Joel Schrag from our Leadership and Nominations Committee. As they come up, I want to let you know that we have two sort of blocks of different leadership awards today, after which we will sing a sung response. Jan Elliker will guide us through it. When we do that singing, I want to invite you to remain seated and imagine that as a time of sung blessing. The floor is yours, Teresa and Joel.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Sousa, and I'm here with Joel to present the 2024 Leadership Fellows Awards. And before we start, I want to express our gratitude to the outgoing Leadership and Nomination Committee members who helped us achieve so much in the past year. Joel Schrag, co-chair, Ilea Sneller, secretary, Ursula Scott, Greg Greisa, Peg Terry, John Kerner, along with our board liaison, Dave Kivra. Thank you all for being with us this year. Every year, the committee identifies members who have demonstrated an exceptional ability to find and implement creative solutions to the congregation's specific needs and to inspire others to work together as an effective team. This year, we identified an unusually large number of hardworking and dedicated members of the congregation to lift up for their amazing leadership in our community. We invite all of those who are recognized today to come forward as their names are mentioned.
And it is my pleasure to recognize our first award, which goes to the bylaws revision team. And this is a large group of people. So revising the bylaws was very hard work, and it was mostly done out of sight over the last couple of years. The first phase, which took place between 2021 and 2022, focused on technical corrections to the bylaws, and those included facilitating electronic voting, which we've all been able to do for this annual meeting. That phase was led by Steve Hartman, who I saw earlier, so I know he's somewhere in the building. If Steve is here, please come forward, join us on the chancel. And that work was supported by Hugh Abrams-Heldy, Ken Button, Loretta Garcia, Tom Heldy, Anna Lim, and John Kerner. So that's phase one. And please join us up on the chancel. We do have certificates for you all, which we'll present to you after the service, just to make things flow a little easier. So that was phase one. Phase two, which took place between 2022 and 2023, focused on social justice. This phase was led by John Kerner, and it was supported by Hugh Abrams-Heldy, Peter Benjamin, Ken Button, Chris Hager, Matthew Hammond, Steve Hartman, and Anna Lim. So if any of the additional people from phase two can join us on the chancel, we'd love to recognize you. So I think some people may be in the balcony, I'm not sure, but I know Matthew is away today. But we wanted to present this Leadership Fellows Award not only to the people who led each phase, but to each team member, because we really want to recognize the success of this truly collaborative effort. So please join me in in congratulating all the members of the Bylaws Revision team.
Next, we recognize two members of the audiovisual team, Dave Leonard and Marsha Leonard. Marsha and Dave were central to creating a professional AV team during the pandemic. Until the pandemic, the audio and videos were run strictly by volunteers. When the pandemic hit, Dave and Marsha stepped up to meet the challenging work of creating a full virtual experience for us. With Dave's extensive tech knowledge from his former work life at the World Bank, he designed a new and updated AV system for the sanctuary. With the state-of-the-art system, Dave and Marcia began streaming the services. If we compare River Road to other UUs in the area, we're far ahead in technology because Dave and Marcia made the technology work in challenging circumstances. Dave and Marcia are not here today, but we welcome everyone to congratulate them when they see them. Our next award goes to Walter Wise for starting and leading the Earth Ministries Climate Reset Workshop. The workshop was an innovative approach to help members of River Road evaluate their carbon footprint and then introduce many different actions, large and small, that they could take to reduce that footprint. It was a 4-part workshop featuring in-person and Zoom sessions. I don't know if Walter is here, but I welcome everyone to congratulate him.
So for our final award, or set of awards, we want to recognize the leaders who made the 2023 Bazaar such a huge success. And I thought of the Bazaar today when I got my ballot, which was purple, because I now associate the color purple with the Bazaar. So first, our first set of awards related to the Bazaar are going to Liz Handley. I think Liz may be here, but also Jenny Sauer, who I know I saw earlier today, and Barb Geiser. So, the co-chairs of our Bazaar. Liz, Jenny, and Barb really, they went above and beyond. They proposed and implemented a number of innovations to make the Bazaar more efficient. These included saving money on storage, reimagining the food concessions, and updating our data collection. Oh, I see Liz coming. Please join us on the chancel. And Barb, and I know Jen, oh, here they are, okay. I really don't think of these people as being shy and retiring, so I'm glad they came up. So to all of these initiatives really contributed to the Bazaar's huge success. And I think even more importantly, they work together to encourage the idea that fundraising should be F-U-N, fun, earning money and building community. So I think their efforts made the Bazaar overall much less taxing and way more fun for volunteers. So please join me in congratulating our terrific Bazaar leaders. But there is one more award. We want to recognize another person, volunteer and River Road youth, Zach Wishod. I don't know if Zach is here. I see Zach's mom. So, okay. But the reason we wanted to recognize Zach is he really worked very closely with Martin Dew and my spouse, Glenn Peppel, before and during the 2023 Bazaar, implementing and troubleshooting the Square payment system. As everyone who's worked with technology knows, you need a teenager to get you through the process. He's an engaging and very tech-savvy youth. Zach brought natural exuberance and expertise to the table when he offered to help train area leaders, so my guess is he trained some of you, and cashiers on Square. He really was an invaluable pair of second eyes when we encountered an access glitch, and he was able to resolve that quickly, thanks in no small part to his very quick thinking. So please, when you see Zach, join us all in congratulating him. So those are just 17 of your most amazing fellow congregants who've demonstrated such terrific leadership. So thank you very much.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Before we offer two final awards, our Muriel Davies Reward in Religious Education and the highest honor that we offer here at River Road, I would like to just invite us to a moment, yet again, as we always do, of gratitude in this time of offering. You can give in so many ways to the life of our congregation. There will be baskets coming around. You can text to give 73256 and the amount. I have said that 100 times. How did I just stumble over it? You can give online on our website and through your phone. What a blessing it is to be one another's people.
And now we continue with the Muriel Davies Award for Excellence in Religious Education. It's named for Muriel Davies, who was our first religious professional here at River Road, primarily for religious education. I'll ask the people, as I call your name, to come on up, and I'll talk about you. So, our first recipient is Megan Mullen. She has been working with the middle school this year and last year, actually. She was here pretty much every time the class met, bringing a sense of safety and continuity to that very rambunctious, fun class. Our next recipient is Stuart Weinstein. Stuart worked with our third through fifth grade class. He worked with Laura and I on some tricky peacemaking and mindfulness work, with a side thank you to Linda for the curriculum for that. And was also in the classroom pretty much every week, providing that much needed sense of continuity for the third through fifth graders. So, Stuart, thank you. And our last recipient, unfortunately, isn't here because there's COVID in his house, but it goes to Andrew Daly. He worked with the kindergarten through second graders, and he was, every time we needed someone at the last minute or needed people to sign up, he was always the first one to say, yes, I'm going to do it, and really worked well with those kindergarten through second graders. So, thank you.
It's my honor to invite forward Dan Glore, board member, and our board chair, Lisa Rubenstein, to offer our highest honor, the Dan Lewis and Pat Wand Award for Extraordinary Service.
The Dan Lewis and Pat Wand Distinguished Service Awards are presented to members of the congregation who have made sustained contributions and a substantial commitment to the congregation in a variety of projects. The award was first given in 2011 and was originally named for Dan Lewis due to the multiple volunteer positions he had held at River Road prior to his death. Last year, the board added Pat Wand's name to the award as she had had a similar level of commitment to River Road prior to her death. I'm happy to announce that this year, your Board of Trustees voted unanimously to give the Dan Lewis and Pat Wand Distinguished Service Award to Barb Geiser. We also have a certificate for you. Okay, I was going to tell everybody about you before we had you come up, but anyway, let me do that now. So Barb joined River Road about 28 years ago. Since 2019, she's served on the Finance Committee, including being its chair for the last 3 years. She also co-chaired the Bazaar, as you just heard, last year and plans to do so again this year. And she chaired 2 very successful spring services auctions last year and this year. Of note, this year, the auction, which was budgeted to bring in $15,000, brought in over $32,000. In the early 2000s, she served a 3-year term on the board, including as vice chair. She's also been on the endowment committee, including being its chair, served on the leadership and nominations committee, the Financial Stewardship Committee, and the Religious Education Committee, including being its chair. In addition, she's been teaching religious education almost continuously since 2000, including elementary, middle school, and OWL, as well as serving as a mentor for the Coming of Age program. Our youth advisor? Okay. Our RE directors have stated that Barb's consistency, kindness, and curiosity are just three of her many qualities that serve the needs of our RE classes so well. On top of all that, Barb has served as a greeter and a volunteer at the membership table. So we're truly fortunate that Barb has devoted so much time and energy here at River Road. Let's give her another round of applause.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
This morning, as you came into this place, perhaps you brought a flower from your yard, or from along the road, or a forest, or from a rose bush by the driveway, or the Safeway up the road. Or maybe you forgot, and that's okay too. From many different sources, these many different flowers have come. Here, piled together, they symbolize the extravagance of nature, as various as these flowers are, they do not begin to exhaust nature's inventiveness in creating forms of color and beauty. And what nature has done for flowers, nature has done from us. We too are products of nature's extravagance. Each of us is unique, mingled together, interacting. We do not become less unique, but rather find our uniqueness heightened. Here in this place, here in this human community, we find the fuller dimensions of our individuality, the richer meaning of our existence, the profound delight of this world, and our existence in this beautiful yet broken world.
Now we invite you to take one of these flowers, take a different flower than the one that you brought in. Take it, not to keep forever and ever. Nothing is forever. But take a flower as a symbol of gratitude. Gratitude for the beauty that we did not create, for the blessings we do not always remember, for the joys which come when unexpected. Take a flower as a symbol of your participation in this community and the community of this congregation, the community of humankind, the community of all living things, the universal community. And if by chance you did not bring a flower, take one anyway. Take a flower of your own as a symbol that beauty and grace and joy and love are not matters of reciprocity. In this world, we cannot earn or deserve that which is most important. It comes to us instead as a gift. Therefore, knowing how to receive is fully as important as knowing how to give.
In a moment when the music begins to play, we will control the chaos to the degree we can by asking that you come forward the center aisle and, if possible, return out the sides. Take a flower of your choosing. We'll be here to help. Our blessing of the flowers is adapted lightly from the Reverend Norbert Chapek. Infinite Spirit of Life, we ask your blessing on these flowers, messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and gifts to be one in desire and affection and devotion to all that is holy. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of your most holy gifts, and may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all are needed to do sacred work in this world. Amen.
So,
Having been blessed by such beauty as this, our work goes on. To lead, to create community for and with one another. Most of my announcements are about the annual meeting. Take note that we will depart this space for at most 10 minutes. Get a bagel, come right back. Our effort is to make the annual meeting as timely as possible so that we will begin 10 minutes from the moment I say the benediction. So I better hurry up and get with it. We will have childcare for anyone who is here for the annual meeting in room 20 during that time. Coffee and snacks are right here in the lounge, so you don't even need to go all the way down to the fellowship hall where we lose you and have to bring you back for the annual meeting. If you indeed are a voting member, which means you're a member of River Road, and you have been for more than, 30 days, 90 days? I don't know. Some smart person will correct me. If you plan on voting at the annual meeting and have not yet signed in at the front table, you can do so as soon as I stop talking. I want to let you know we have a very big, very exciting announcement about interim ministry at River Road that we will make at the annual meeting. Yay! So even if you are not a voting member, you might just want to stay to get the hot gossip, right? I'm just saying. Also, I'm pretty sure we got the best one, period, the best one. Reverend Amanda is currently coordinating our efforts with Capital Pride. If you want to be a part of our Pride contingent, talk to Amanda as soon as possible. And once again, many thanks to donors and bidders for this year's services auction. Indeed, we raised over $32,000. Barb Geyser. Check your emails for notices to the winners and the donors. Winners of certificates can pick them up at the auction table in the bridge today, right after the service. If you have questions, just call us at auction at ruuc.org. Let's do this and get it going as fast as possible. And as we share this light we have kindled with the waiting world, may the truths that make us free, the love that casts out fear, and the hope that never dies guide us and those we love and those we do not love forward together till the day spring breaks and all the shadows flee away. Amen. Let's have an annual meeting.